Aloha Internet. Welcome to Monday, October 27th, 2025, 8:09 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is once again the Bubbles Stock Market Open Show. Let's dig into it. Now, hopefully you are starting off your Monday the same place I did, right? The monthly budget. Hopefully you are. It is a new day down to the 27th, 10, 27, 25. Log into your accounts, record what you have, do whatever type of kind of bookkeeping you need. Stay on top of the cash flowing in and out of your account. Put your transactions in here. If you want or need a little more help on how to set this up, at the 1 minute mark, there should be a link popping up in here to a video right there. Boom, it should be popping up if I was able to work YouTube correctly. Should have been popping up at the 1 minute mark. Once you watch this video, you can go back and watch that. It's easy to remember. That's why I put it at the 1 minute mark. But that video will give you a little more insight into setting up some bookkeeping stuff for you and how you can do some theta trades to help pay for some of your monthly bills, and maybe eventually you start migrating more and more of your monthly bill paying to coming out of your brokerage account, and eventually you might be living off your brokerage account. Yay, good for you. So we got that part done. Hopefully that's the start of your morning. We see the good old Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis Fed. We're still running on a lagging indicator here of unemployment rate via the Fed website. Still in August, 4.3 allegedly. I'm sure this number is changed since then, but this is the official, I guess, the official reporting. What makes something official? Maybe it's because of the high Shiller PE ratio. That's what's making it official. We usually are in a mean or median of around 16, 17, up here at 40, which means overall, generally, an easy way to say it, the stock market is expensive. As indicated here as well by the Buffett indicator, I think this really jumped up quite a bit because I don't remember it being in the 200s. I thought it was like 120 or something. So now it's really, I guess I should go back and watch my own videos and see what the last one I recorded was. But 227 doesn't mean that you can't find good deals in the market, but things are a bit expensive. The MMRI, here's the normal one that or the original one that's calculated by taking the DXY, which is a index of the dollar uh, relative to other currencies, and then the U.S. 10-year Treasury, and then divided it by 1.6. I don't know exactly how that was derived, but overall it's been pretty accurate overall. You see where this was updated. This graph was last updated on the 24th. We're into the 27th. I think this is updated day to day because I think I remember it being around, yeah, 45, 46, somewhere in there. So up just a little bit on the MMRI. We're seeing the uptick in the actual chart. So we're in the middle of high risk. We we were in extreme risk back here, and it's kind of been going down, up, down, but overall down. We'll see how that goes. This is a modified, you see modified MMRI, and it's also calculating in the debt to GDP, which, okay, so this is current total market cap to GDP. This is adding in debt to GDP. So when you look at the modified MMRI, we're off we're we're redlined. I don't know what you call that when you're driving when it's barreled. I don't it is buried. That's right. Our thing is buried off the high extreme. So we're 318 out of 250 on here. So off the charts. Definitely in some extreme risk according to this. And but okay. So with that being said, with this extreme, with this big risk popping up, look what's going on. Look what's going on in the futures market. Boom, hitting all-time highs. Stock indices, all four of them in the futures market, hitting all-time highs on today's candle. I don't know if that was technically on 1028 or if it was 1027. Not sure, but it's happening. So pushing the all-time highs. Dollar moving down just a little bit, but staying right around 100. Gold moving down a little bit. Silver moving down a little bit. Maybe you say a lot. Subjective to how much, but it's definitely moving down today with a continued kind of move down for both of these assets. We see Bitcoin uh, gapped up as well, kind of having this up day. Oil is seeming to kind of taper out right around this 62 point, hitting some resistance. In the VIX, futures floating down a little bit. Let me just put this in here. Oh, you know what? CP. Looks like I forgot that. Oh man. Looks like I forgot that ticker. So I'll have to relook that up for the put to call ratio. I know I looked it up on Friday and I definitely forgot that what exactly that ticker is. Oh, I'll have to refind it to see what's going on in there. So we see what's going on in the futures markets, what's going on in the equities before open. No surprise, S&P 500 via SPY up, VIX down, getting closer to it right at 15. And looks like almost everything has been floating up except for Coca-Cola coming down, FCX coming down a bit, GLD coming down, no surprise, MO coming down. Yeah, everything else floating up. So what could we expect out of the stock market for today, the rest of October, going into November? Stock market can really only move three ways, up, down, or sideways. So what can we expect? We can definitely expect one of those directions. Maybe you would say, well, that's not very helpful, but actually, it, if you get grounded into the fact that it can only move three ways, just that alone can be really helpful because it's wiping out a lot of different things. You're narrowing down your mental search of what might happen to three things, up, down, or sideways. There's a lot of fundamental data that is kind of wonky and bonkers and all like this is this is there. It's expensive. We're we're not in the green. We're not even in the moderate. And depending on how you look at it, it could be extreme. Uh, this is this is indicating that overall it's a little more difficult to find value in the stock market, and these two are indicating that to tread carefully, not necessarily lightly, but maybe light, careful, maybe that's kind of the same. And what are the actual numbers? Like those are actual numbers of the stock market things are moving up. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Hopefully, what you're doing is following a plan. Having, if you don't have a plan, making a plan, following the plan, considering what your buying power is, considering what your lifestyle is, your long-term goals, your short-term goals, and how to work things out in the stock market. There's a lot of different ways to approach it. And let's see, I think there's a lot of news that stock market's going up on some news that there might be some sort of deal coming with China. I thought I saw a news article. I did see a news article on my headline, but there's more stuff coming out. And one thing that I've heard from Noah Davidson before that I would like to believe it's true. Everything that is known or knowable gets priced into the chart. And the futures market, I think, is a good place to look because it's, I think, a place where you have more professionals trading and they're trading more often, bigger market, super liquid. And what is it telling us? It's telling us things are rising. So it would appear we're going to go to new all-time highs. And I think the put to call ratio, I'll definitely figure that out. What ticker I used for that? Gosh, I can't believe it. Because it gives us a gauge of are people becoming complacent. And sometimes when everybody is leaning to one side of the boat, makes it likely to tip over, and you might be benefited from going to the other side of the boat. However, if you constantly just going the other direction of everybody on the boat, you might miss some things because sometimes people are on one side because there's something worth seeing on that side. As I think that idea is sometimes left out. The metaphor of everybody on one side of the boat is I think often used over several years. I've heard that many times before when people are talking about contrarian investing and things of that nature. And so let's also use the metaphor of don't let's not be blindly knee jerk reaction. Like if we decide, well, whatever people are going to do, I'm just going to do the opposite. Okay, so if everybody's using, the modern plumbing to live their life, you're just going to do the opposite just because everybody else is doing it. Like I think that's a little silly. If everybody is doing something, but it has some sort of value, then don't lose out on value because everyone is doing it, and you're just gonna randomly do the opposite, no matter how good of a thing it might be. But sometimes, maybe oftentimes, I don't know how much it is. I would say sometimes it's worth going to that side of the boat to get some value, and sometimes it's not. And maybe you have to use discretion of how big is the boat, how many people. If everybody on the if it's a big boat and quote unquote everybody is on one side, but there's only a total of four people, and the boat can hold 500, and you only got four people on the side, is the boat going to tip over? Is a boat that can hold 500 people, if it has four and three out of four are on that side, is it going to tip over? Not likely. So I think it's good to try to give nuance and add nuance and figure out how to work in the market and not just be as black and white as if everybody's doing this, I'm going to do the opposite because of whatever. There's a the if these years of attempting to make money in the stock market, and when I say attempting, I don't mean that I'm not making money in the stock market. I'm just mean that I'm constantly attempting, I'm constantly refining. There was definitely a time when I wasn't, and I was attempting to. Now I am, and I'm still attempting to make more and make it more efficiently in this pursuit. What one thing that There's two things that I can say with absolute certainty. There's going to be passage of time. So if you're buying or selling options, like you're dealing with a passage of time, and it's very predictable. Another thing that I think is accurate, not only does the passage of time happen in the stock market, but there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of interacting things. Even though this is the US stock market, it does have a bit of a global influence, and there can be other things that can affect the stock market, which is why other things affecting the stock market, which is why there are indicators like this and indicators like this, that looking at other factors that can trigger events in the stock market. So be nimble. If you if you're not currently making consistently making money, then make sure, and even if you are and you want to get more dialed in, consider really focusing on your own personal finances to start, and then look at the stock market of how am I going to use the stock market um, to subsidize or whatever amount with your own personal finances. Okay, with that, I'm going to get this uploaded, and I'm excited to see what Monday through Friday holds. See how October ends, and then how November unfolds until it ends, and then we go into December. Aloha.